This is the beginning of a show called Pacy's Ponderings, heavily inspired by Thorne's Thoughts, where I just talk about whatever I want to. Do my ponderings on it, so that it has alliteration. Today's topic is about the North American jungle goat player Xmithie, and two players that can overtake him for goat status. Before we get to those two players, I want to give context on Xmithie. He's the jungle goat with by far the most championships won from jungle position, which I think is 6, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 6. 2 on CLG and 4 on TL. He was never like that good a regular season player. He had a lot of good winning records, but it wasn't because of him mainly. But he was always a clutch playoff performer that would start to. He had coin flip performances at international events with results such as 2 MSI finals, but he also never got out of groups in any World's Championship ever, even though he was part of the best NA lineup to ever be put together in 2019 TL. So there's some issues with Xmithie being the jungle goat. He was a player that was infamous for not practicing outside of scrims. He would play other games. He would go out and drink and party. He didn't want to play League in practice outside of scrims and professional matches. He was often hard stuck diamond or low masters because his lack of willingness to play. And this probably led to poor international performances where he would get out jungled by the likes of Yankos, Canyon. Wait, no slouches by the way. Like, of course it's reasonable to lose to these guys. But he's the NA GOAT. He should be competing with them, not just getting mega stomped. Or fucking Leanne. When IG's old sub-jungler Leanne, his rookie year was shitting on Xmithie at Worlds. I digress. But he didn't really have a real work ethic, which is not a good sign. It's not a good example to set for upcoming talent in North America. North America as a culture has a problem with working hard enough to win. They want to work just hard enough to be a pro and enjoy a lifestyle of parties, girls, and fame, and having a lot of money. But they don't put in the amount of work that actually requires you to win a world championship, something that Eastern teams and even European teams do. And Xmithie is the ultimate example of this. He coasted by and he won 6 championships. At his peak point of his career, he was not practicing hard, which is a horrible example to set for upcoming junglers. But the two players that can overtake him and set better examples are Blabber and Spica. These two players are incredible NA talent that have shown time and time again they're gonna be here to stay in the LCS and they're gonna be competitive internationally. To start with Spica, he won a championship all the way from the lower bracket, first round lower bracket, doing a bunch of reverse sweeps, has been shown to be clutch when his teammates in Bjergsen and Doublelift were maybe at the trough of their career. Bjergsen was just a supportive element who was supporting the top side, jungle lane, top lane, Broken Blade, while Doublelift was being put on Senna every single game, a notorious weak side bot lane champ that is made to play for your solo lanes and your jungler. So Spica has shown he can carry it domestic-wise or play super well. He even won an MVP with that whack TSM team with Power of Evil, Uni, Lost, and Sword Art. He got MVP with Power of Evil as his mid laner. One of the most... Imagine him like Frog and Light. He doesn't like leading lane. He's a really good control mage player, but that's about it. He doesn't have much else to his game. He doesn't really help junglers that want to be proactive. He still won MVP. That's saying something. And his only international tournament was Worlds, where he went 0-6, but he was the only human on that team in the Broken Blade, actually. If you ask me, Bjergsen, he was playing the best on that team out of a roster with 3 veterans and arguably 2 of the NA GOATs. I don't really consider Bjergsen the NA GOAT for mid. I consider Jensen, but that's another video another time. But arguably the 2 GOATs. And they were playing like shit. They were playing scared. Spica's flashing in, getting 5-man Lilia sleeps, and what does Season do? Jack shit. They didn't do anything with it. This guy has a killer instinct. You could see it in his play, by the way. And TSM just did jack shit with it. I hope when his contract runs out, he goes to a better team and actually does something with his career. I'm hoping for him to overtake Xmithie. Now, the second option, we have Blabber. This guy has already had loads of domestic success with 3 titles? 2? 3? He has 2 or 3 titles. I don't remember exactly. But this dude, he came into Worlds. No. When Cena was having roster issues with Jensen and Scarin, they brought Blabber and Golden Blue in differently. Blabber would play with Jensen. But Blabber would come in and he started dominating. Like, he was just shitting on veteran NA jungles. He even had a really good game against TL where he just destroyed Xmithie. And they get the playoffs. They win semifinals pretty. I don't remember how hard, but they get to finals. You get subbed out for Scarin Jensen, which was the C9 roster that went to semis and worlds. But he got a lot of good play. He got a lot of experience, and he looked good starting, and not like the fake good that Contracts was. And C9 sold him off, but he had smart pathing and he had really insane mechanics. So we get to the next year where Blabber gets way less time, but he gets to play at the Worlds 2019. I think it was 2019 Worlds. Yeah, it was. Where he's playing in the group stage against Yankos and Tarzan, 2 of the best junglers in the world. Yankos is the Western GOAT jungler, hands down. Nobody can touch him. And Blabber had a really good early game. C9 was lost in the mid and late game, but Blabber had more impact in the early game. And embarrassed Yankos. It was Yankos Kiana, which is pretty infamous for being bad. But Blabber did embarrass him early game. I don't care what anyone says, go back and look at the game. Topside was crushing G2 until they just did the classic G2 and won a mid game. He played against Tarzan. I don't remember the Griffin game. They probably got stomped, but this was good experience, learning against 2 of the best junglers to ever touch the game. And then the next year comes, 2020, where he's the starting jungler. Scarin's out. It's all Blabber. He wins the championship with Niski, Sven, Licorice, and Vulcan. Now, all 4 of these players had never won an NA. Sven had won in EU, but everyone was saying he just got carried by perks after his TSM. After he had looked really bad in TSM for reasons like his fault. Niski, everyone, perennially underrated player, by the way. Everyone just thinks no matter who he replaces, he's a downgrade, except this year when we finally got to Mad Lions. Licorice, a player that always had potential, but people were starting to think maybe he just will never win because he's a choker. And Vulcan, a rookie in this sense. He had played the year before, but rookies are longer than the year, take more than a year to develop. But they won this championship heavily off the back of Blabber. He was MVP of the regular season. This dude was crushing everyone, straight up. And then they choked and had a 4th place finish and didn't go to Worlds that year. Whatever. All right, let's go to the next year. He wins Spring MVP again. This dude's like King of Spring, the NA version of Xiaohu or something. He wins Spring MVP, goes 5 games against TL, beats him. He beats Broxa. Yep. Absolutely out jungles Broxa. Not really hard, but wait, no, was it Broxa? It was Grig. It was Armal playing. My bad. No, it's not joking. Armal wasn't hard, especially in the Hecker Udyr meta, but Blabber did it, and he went to MSI. Now, despite C9 only going 2-8, Blabber beat Damwon Gaming and RNG, the 2 best teams at that tournament, the winners of LPL and LCK. Again, he won against the best jungler in the world, Canyon, and a really good up-and-coming jungler, Wei, he's looked rocky this year, but he did pop off at MSI and clutched it out. But winning against Canyon, hey, that's no joke. Xmithie did that once, and he got considerably overrated. So Blabber could do it this early in his career. What else could he do? Then in the summer, they didn't win NA, but they got to quarterfinals of Worlds. They got out of groups, which it shouldn't be an accomplishment, but for NA, huge accomplishment. And he did that against TN, a former world champion. Who else? Inspired NA MVP when he came to the league. He was an EU MVP and then he came to NA and carried EG to a title. Excuse me. So he won against EU MVP, Inspired. FPX World Champion jungler Tien, and who was the first place in that crew? Was it Team Roman? Who was it? I don't remember. Whatever Korean team got first place. But despite this, Blabber has shown to be competent and competitive. Despite the Crabber memes and the Scuttle Crab memes, he is a good player, and he is competent and can keep up with Eastern junglers. These are the two players that need to, not can, they can, but they need to overtake Xmithie. Because having a GOAT player that was phoning it in all of his career, horrible example for NA, and it needs to change.